Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news. When we talk about the Atlanta Falcons, we're not just talking about a team with a rich history, but about a franchise that's always looking to take that next big step. And this offseason, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of speculation, especially around the secondary, which was a bit of a weak spot last season. The Falcons, coming off a season where their pass defense struggled to make those game-changing plays, are now in a position where they could potentially turn things around in a big way. And I mean, really big. Because, folks, there are some names on the market right now that could totally transform their secondary, cornerbacks who are not just veteran leaders, but proven playmakers when healthy. And I'm talking about two guys whose names have been making waves across the league: Jaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers and Jalen Ramsey from the Miami Dolphins. Let's start by talking about Jaire Alexander. This guy, when healthy, has been one of the most exciting young cornerbacks in the NFL. He's been a Pro Bowler twice, showing time and again that he can lock down some of the league's best receivers. Alexander's quickness, agility, and ball skills make him a nightmare for quarterbacks, and his ability to shut down one side of the field is something that the Falcons could definitely use. Last season, he was showing flashes of that brilliance before injuries cut his season short. The Packers, who have been rebuilding and trying to find their footing after a couple of tough years, recently released Alexander, and that's opened up a window for teams like Atlanta to swoop in and make a move. Now, why would the Falcons be so interested in Alexander? Well, it's simple. Their secondary has been a point of concern, especially against the pass-heavy offenses in their division and across the league. Last season, the Falcons' pass defense ranked somewhere in the middle of the pack, but they lacked those game-changing players who could consistently shut down top receivers and give the rest of the defense the confidence it needs. Adding a player like Alexander, who has shown he can be a shutdown corner when healthy, could be just what the doctor ordered to elevate the entire unit. Plus, he's still relatively young, just in his mid-20s, so the Falcons could be looking at a player who can anchor their secondary for years to come. But of course, nothing comes easy in the NFL. Alexander's injury history has been a concern. Multiple injuries have kept him out for significant stretches, and that's probably part of why the Packers decided to part ways. Yet, if the Falcons can do their due diligence and see that he's healthy and ready to go, he could be a steal. And let's not forget, the Falcons have been searching for that veteran presence to guide their young defensive backs. Alexander could fill that role perfectly, providing leadership and reliability in a defense that's still in the process of finding its identity. On the other side, we have Jalen Ramsey. Now, Ramsey is a different story altogether. This guy, when healthy, has been one of the best cornerbacks in the league for years. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, and a Super Bowl champion with the Rams. Ramsey's resume speaks volumes about his talent and consistency. His ball-hawking skills are elite, 24 career interceptions, and he's also accumulated over 100 pass deflections, making him a true ball magnet. His presence on the field can completely change the way offenses attack, because quarterbacks tend to avoid throwing his way, which opens up opportunities for the rest of the secondary. Ramsey has been on the trade block since April 2025, and the buzz around him has only grown louder. The Miami Dolphins, who picked him up in recent years, might be willing to part ways if the right deal comes along, and the Falcons have been among the teams showing serious interest. Why? Because they see in Ramsey that same leadership, experience, and shutdown ability that could be the final piece in a defense that's been promising but inconsistent. Atlanta's defense, especially their secondary, has been a work in progress, and adding Ramsey could give them that elite cornerback they've been craving. And let's talk about what Ramsey would bring to the Falcons beyond just stats. This is a guy who's not shy about speaking his mind, who's been a vocal leader and someone who demands excellence from his teammates. He's also got the championship pedigree. having been part of a Rams team that went all the way to the Super Bowl and won. That kind of experience is invaluable, especially for a relatively young team trying to find its footing in the NFC South. The Falcons are building around a young core, but they need those veteran leaders to push everyone to the next level, and Ramsey's presence could be just the spark they need. Now, I know some fans are probably thinking, well, both these guys have injury concerns, and that's a fair point. Both Alexander and Ramsey have had their fair share of setbacks. But in the NFL, talent often outweighs injury history. If the player is healthy, their impact can be immediate and significant. The Falcons are at a crossroads where they need to be aggressive, making bold moves to turn their defense into a top-tier unit. The addition of either Alexander or Ramsey could be the difference between a decent secondary and a truly dominant one that can carry them deep into the playoffs. And let's remember, the Falcons are not just looking for a short-term fix. They want to build a defense that can sustain success for years. Both players, especially the younger Alexander, fit that mold perfectly. Ramsey, with his leadership and championship experience, can be a cornerstone for this team's ambition of returning to greatness. The Falcons have been patient, developing young talent, but now is the time to strike. The upcoming season could be a pivotal one, and making a move now could set the tone for what's to come. Of course, the NFL trade market is always a chess game. There are other teams interested, and the Falcons will have to weigh their options carefully. They'll likely need to part with some draft picks or young players to land either Alexander or Ramsey, but the potential payoff is enormous. Imagine a secondary featuring Alexander's shutdown skills and Ramsey's versatility. Opposite or alongside other young talents like A.J. Terrell, the Falcons could have one of the most formidable secondaries in the league. That kind of talent could make a real difference in close games, turning their past defense from a weakness into a strength. And speaking of the team's recent history, the Falcons have been on an upward trajectory, with some promising signs last season. They've got a solid core of young players, a talented offense led by quarterback Desmond Ridder, and a coaching staff that's hungry to compete at the highest level. But if they want to take that next step, especially in a division as competitive as the NFC South, they need to shore up their defense. Adding a veteran star like Alexander or Ramsey could be the final piece to put them over the top. Now, it's worth mentioning that both these players come with their own set of challenges. As I said earlier, injuries are a concern, and the Falcons will need to do their homework to ensure they're getting a player who's truly ready to contribute. But the upside is undeniable. With proper medical assessments and a strategic approach, Atlanta could land either of these cornerbacks and significantly elevate their chances of making a deep playoff run. It's a gamble worth taking when you consider the impact these players could have. Furthermore, this potential move also sends a message across the league. The Falcons are serious about contending now. They're willing to make bold moves, to spend resources, and to invest in building a championship-caliber team. That kind of mentality can energize the entire locker room, excite the fan base, and even put other teams on notice that Atlanta isn't here to just participate. They're here to compete at the highest level. It's a bold statement, and one that could change the dynamics of the NFC South for years to come. Looking ahead, fans should keep a close eye on how the Falcons handle this situation. Will they pull the trigger on a trade? Will they wait and see how injuries and other factors play out? Whatever the case, the next few weeks will be crucial. The NFL trade deadline, offseason moves, and free agency are all moments where teams make decisions that can alter their futures. And for Atlanta, this could be one of those defining moments. In conclusion, the possibility of adding Jaire Alexander or Jalen Ramsey is an exciting development for Falcons fans. It's about more than just filling a need. It's about making a statement, about showing that Atlanta is serious about winning now and in the future. Both players bring a level of excellence, leadership, and playmaking ability that could transform the Falcons' secondary, and consequently, their entire defense. So keep your eyes peeled and your fingers crossed, because big changes could be on the horizon. And remember, this is just the beginning of what could be an incredible chapter for the Atlanta Falcons. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Falcons should go all in and trade for Ramsey or Alexander? Which of these two would make the biggest impact in your eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. Remember, your voice is what keeps this community alive and thriving. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more rumors, and more insights into what's happening around the team. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep that Falcons fire burning bright. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Falcons!